Hey artists, today you're going to get back your line drawing that you made last class. And off the supply table, you are going to get one magazine page. You're probably going to want one of each size brush, because you might have some really small areas to paint as well. And that is it. Okay, and you are going to go to whichever table it is that you're going to want your artwork to be. So if I'm going to use red, I'm going to go and move to the red table because that's where the red paints are going to be. If you're going to use purple, you'd move to the purple table. After you've had a seat at your whatever color table you're going to use, I will come around and I will give you just a little bit of white paint on your magazine page. Okay. And I'm going to check the back of my artwork. I told you last time to try and write down how many sections you have. So I had 7. That means I'm probably going to fill in 3 or 4 sections with tints today. All right. Now, when we mix tints, there is a trick, and it is that you always add your color to the white. Never add white into the red or purple or whatever it is you're using, because it would take a ton of white to really change that red a lot. But if I take that red and I just put it in the white, it'll change really quickly. So I'm going to take my brush, I'm just going to dip it in, and I'm going to mix it with my white. I'm not going to mix it all over my page. I'm going to keep my puddle fairly small. Mixing it nice and well. I would probably use your bigger brush to do the mixing. I'm going to get a really light tint. And now I'm going to use this tint probably 3 or 4 times, depending on how many sections you're going to do with your tints. So maybe I'll paint this one to begin with. Carefully outlining. That's going to be really, really important on this project. Okay, I know that's something that we struggle with sometimes, is remembering to outline your shape first. That gives you a nice border. And then you can go in and fill that shape in. Now, if you get to a situation where it's too little, like this spot might be too small for the brush that I'm using, I can get that other little brush that I have and carefully fill that in. Okay, I got 1 done. I've got to probably do 2 or 3 more sections. So, you know, maybe I'll do this one. Or maybe I would come up here and I would do this one. Okay, it's going to depend on where you're going to want your sections of tints to be. Right, so I'm choosing to do 3 sections of tints. So this section's going to all be tints, this will all be tints, and this will all be tints. That means the other sections that I'm skipping, those will end up being shades. Okay. Okay, to make my next tint, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paintbrush, maybe try to wipe some of that extra paint off so you don't accidentally get that in your color that you're using. I'm going to dip it in the red, mix it in. Remember that I'm always adding the color to the white. And it's going to get just a little bit darker, a little bit closer to the color red. So my pink is just changing just a little bit. And once I have this all mixed together, remember, try to keep that puddle kind of small. You don't want it to be the size of your paper. The more that you spread that puddle out, actually the less paint that you're going to have to use. Okay, now I can take this tint and I'm going to paint the section right next to the one I just did. Outlining first, and then filling it in. All right, got that tint made and painted on there. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to carefully wipe off my brush, try to get that extra off. Take that red, give it a dip, mix it in with my pink again. And it's going to just slowly continue to change. Sometimes it might not really look like it's changing, but it is, just a little bit. And now I can paint this. See, once again, it's getting just slightly different. You'll notice that depending on how big some of your shapes are, some of these might only take 3 or 4 tints to fill in. Whereas if you have one like this over on the side, I'm really going to have to mix a lot of different tints. So the more you paint, you'll start to fill this up and it'll start to go faster. So to start off with, it's going to seem like there's a ton to paint because you might be painting 3 or 4 shapes. But then as time goes on, you'll be painting, maybe just 1 or 2. So you'll start to fill them in. All right, finish that tint. So same thing, you're just going to keep adding to it. Take a little bit of red, mix it in with that color or whatever color you're using. Keep your pile of paint small. Mixing it. Sometimes you might have to kind of push some of that paint from the edge towards the center of your pile. And I'm ready to rock and roll again. So this section is all filled in now, so I don't have to worry about that one anymore. I'm going to continue to work on my tints, filling in this one. As you can see, I'll only have 3 more tints to do for that one. But this one over here, I'm going to still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I still actually have 6 more tints to go before I'm finished for the day. When you get this far, you are done for the day. So I did all of my tints. Okay, you can see them. Remember, it should end up being about half of your paper today. Your paintbrush will go in the dirty brush bin, and you can put your magazine page right in the garbage can. Okay, we won't need it. Try to do your best, get this done quickly. If you are done early, maybe find a friend that might want some help because there will be a ton of painting to get done.